hello again. This is Ben Hitchcock Cross talking to you. We've got an article by AJ Poor of Channel 58 CBS Milwaukee. And we're going to go through it a little bit here. We're going to talk about, no, we're going to go through it. I think it's pretty good. There's a little bit of yours truly in there. Pardon me. We'll probably laugh. And hopefully we'll get on to some of the audit itself. Much of that's going to be an exercise in translation. We'll see how we're doing for time. All right. Boom. Afraid to even tell the truth, lawyer for MPS whistleblowers, lawmakers react to scathing MPS audit. Let's see. AJ there he is. All right. Missouri, Champaign. It's hard to pin down any particular news reporter for TV news because they like go through a whole training of they go through a school, they start at a small market, they get promoted. This is Milwaukee is definitely not the first step on the road. At least we can say that about ourselves. Okay. But it's hard to know if and they'll certainly never tell you if they're left, right, center, who knows what. But I'll say this, that AJ seems definitely interested. He's extremely prepared, and he seems to be very interested in education. That was the whole thrust of that. All right, so Evers audit. Let's see if any of this is coming up.
Report based on 18 interviews with MPS leaders, state education officials, and elected members of the MPS board. One key finding is a respondent describing a, quote, culture of fear in the district and a long-standing resistance to change.
The employees are so afraid even to tell the truth to the administrators, like North Korea, that because they're afraid that they'll get punished, that they go.
Yeah, the one thing I will say about that is you just, for some reason, no matter how it goes, people will see that. I mean, who watches Channel 58? I don't know. I mean, I don't know anybody who does or doesn't, or no knock on that. But my secretary came and said that she watched it last night. Cracks me up. Okay, here we go. An outside audit finding Milwaukee Public Schools has a culture of fear and needs an organizational overhaul sends waves across the city and over to the state capitol in Madison Thursday. Ooh, I like that. I'd like to hear what kind of waves they were. Waves of truth, waves of accountability. I don't know. Ben Hitchcock Cross, a Milwaukee lawyer who said he's represented 5 different MPS whistleblowers in various state and federal lawsuits against the district, said many of the audit's findings matched what he had heard from his clients. The employees are so afraid even to tell the truth to the administrators, like North Korea, he said, because they are afraid they'll get punished and that they go along with things they know are not true. The auditors interviewed 18 district stakeholders, including MPS leaders, Department of Public Instruction officials, and elected members of MPS Board of School Directors. That's not so the people they paid interviewed themselves. I mean, this is the whole point of this exercise is to remember the people who are responsible are MPS and DPI and the governor's office as well. And so the governor's office is sort of paying / MPS is paying for this to interview, including, this is quoting from the thing, MPS leaders, which means administration, DPI, and the school board. Of course, they're elected. I mean, it's not like they got other one. It's crazy. crazy. And we'll go through here, and I think it's some of what is in this audit is just astonishing at how similar it is to what um I mean, I could put this another way. You could have easily have paid Matt Chasen $500,000, and he could have written the same document 5 years ago, probably just as well. No knock or offense to Matt Chasen, he's just one person, and he certainly tries. Um, and had the same thing. In fact, he wrote, in my opinion, like a virtually identical. Um, and then we would have been and spent $1.5 million on something other than this $2 million audit, like books or teachers. Rudimentary math tells me that is 13 teachers, but that's a school. And many places 12, 13 teachers is an elementary school. So heck, that's not nothing, right? $120,000 per year per teacher. Like, I'm no math surgeon. Okay. The auditor's interview, this is also echoed, I think, in the Robin Pedersen culture of fear. That's where that they're echoing when this audit uses the word culture of fear, it's clearly referencing back to the Robin Peterson, the city attorney's report on Dr. Jeremiah Holiday, which uses that same language, in my opinion. Culture of fear. Okay. In addition to finding leaders, the people that they interviewed, reluctant to change, the auditors also noted overlapping jobs, such as the administration and the board having their own communication offices. You'll see there are, like, seriously, this is how you make a decision. First, the problem is identified by the people. Then the administration recognizes there is a problem. Then the administration goes to the people and says, "What should we do?" And then they make a decision on what to do. Then that decision goes to the board. Then the board makes a decision, and then the administration carries it out. The end. $2 million, please. It's there are parts of this thing that are almost okay. He said that also aligned with findings in his cases. He said a common complaint from whistleblowers had been qualified employees being passed over for leadership spots because of high-ranking district officials instead wanted to take care of their friends. Many of these positions that we're talking about with overlap and anything else are ultimately they're created for the individual and not the work. He said some of these people have started as elementary teachers and worked their way up, gotten their PhD, gotten to this level, and now they're subject matter experts, and they're a threat to these cronies because the cronies don't know what they're doing. I think that's fair. The report also called for the district's 9 elected board members to undergo more extensive training to understand and perform their jobs. Last summer, board member Henry Leonard told CBS 58 the board does not receive training on district finances amid official crisis that forced MPS's previous superintendent Keith Posley to resign. That is, well, I have to keep that in mind for future reference. We have talked, and I talked quite extensively about how, and this article here, this outside, basically the board members here's the argument. board members in school districts in like outside in the rural areas have an excuse because they're so part-time to possibly not know what's going on. But in Milwaukee, these people need to be on their game and should have no excuse. That's what the argument is. Okay. The report also called for the district's 9 elected board members to undergo more extensive training to understand and perform their jobs. Last summer, board member Henry Leonard, the MPS board released a statement Thursday calling the audit's findings and recommendation a valuable tool as it moves into a new era after picking Brenda Caselius this week to serve as the district's new superintendent. There's no doubt in my mind that they waited to put this out until after they picked the superintendent. There's no doubt in my mind. The report validates the progress we are making while also serving as a guide for continued improvements. I don't like the word guide. The report validates the progress we are making. At the same time, it identifies areas for growth, reaffirming our commitment and to continue. Okay. There's several layers there, and I guess the first thing that I'm gonna just argue with is this reaffirming our commitment to continuous improvement. Um, I won't say as an oxymoron, but I will. Uh, thanks you to if you don't remember from the last video, I have been listening to way too much The History of the Russian Revolution by Leon Trotsky, and I will say that this sentence has internal contradictions. Thank you very much. Um, it identifies reaffirming our commitment to continuous improvement. I mean, I guess it's like, thank you for showing us that we made an error, which allows us to tell you that we're actually working. See, even that, like, I don't even know that that makes any sense. Reaffirming our commitment to continuous improvement. That's I mean, I don't think it's continuous improvement means this to me, that if we are saying that if we see a problem, we're going to try to solve it. We may not solve it, but we're going to keep trying no matter what. That's what that means. I don't see that to be facially or factually to be what's happening here, but I just also okay, then reaffirming doesn't mean anything really. At the same time, it identifies areas for growth. Okay. Same time it identifies that just means it says, well, and I mean it's scathing. I think it's actually scathing. But the real question is going to be, no matter what, is are they going to do something from it? I just that it's like it's, if you don't know the term, we use the term carrot medallions on this channel, golden medallions, because the MPS uh school um, school lunch menu has, for as long as I've known it, has been a work of art and has used these terms that bear little resemblance to reality. At least they did when I was in 4th grade, and carrot medallions was something that would always get me. All right. Senate State Rep Joel Kitchens, this is a Republican from Sturgeon Bay, who chairs the Assembly's Education Committee. Now that's somebody we should be. How the heck do we, deliberate indifference, not know that? He was sympathetic to the MPS board's challenges, given it's a part-time job and those challenges play out in the school districts across Wisconsin. Given the district's size and influence on the state and other, he added, MPS board has no margin for error. I think that's just a good way to put it. Sturgeon, I will say that, uh, let's just find out. So yeah, Sturgeon Bay is a city of 5,000 people in Door County, Wisconsin. It has a beautiful high school. I think we talked about the Germantown guy went to Sturgeon Bay, and it had fewer people but paid less. Um, so I'm just saying that's like a third the population of Whitefish Bay. There are certainly several blocks in Milwaukee that have larger populations. Um, which is, it just needs to be taken into account. Here you go. They trust the superintendent, that kind of thing, Kitchen says. But when you get a situation like Milwaukee, we need board members that are really engaged there. They have to provide oversight. I, I don't want to fault the board members on this at all. I do never have got the concept that they were not engaged. I do not, and I've never got the concept that they didn't do their work, that they didn't take it seriously. Do not think that I've ever got that concept from a single board member, one way or the other. I don't think I think they are not aware of the enormity of the situation. That I think is clear, and other things along those lines. But I would say, I think they're engaged, but I think whether or not they have the ability to provide oversight, that's a bigger question. The Evers administration is spending $5.5 million on a pair of MPS audits. MGT is still working on a second report that will examine the district's academic practices. All right, well, that's something. A spokesperson for Evers told reporters in a briefing Wednesday MGT will receive about $2 million for its work, and the rest will go to MPS for implementation of the audits 29 recommendations. Kitchen said he was not opposed to that spending. Um, that's like $3 million will last like an afternoon. Yeah, that's not serious in my opinion. I don't have a problem personally. I think they need to know what's going on, and again, we have to hope that information is used by them. All right. Other Republican lawmakers, including Assembly Speaker Robin Voss and State Senator John Jagler. These two are pretty big, powerful names here. Chair of the state's Education Commission have slammed the district in recent weeks, primarily its ongoing failure to reintroduce school resource officers under state law. Is that not true? Let's see. Let's get the update. Board member Missy Zombor told reporters Tuesday MPS is now offering to cover 33% of the 25 officers' salary along with the full cost of training. The district and Mayor Cavalier Johnson have been with odds who should pay for the SROs. I bet that was always going to be the point. MPS needs money, but again, they have to follow the law. That's our only leverage that we have is the funding. Oof. Kitchen said the ongoing delay was inexcusable and threatened to hurt MPS in the next two state budgets. State Senator Chris Larson said he worried audit's finding would be used as a weapon by Republicans to cut public school funding statewide. I mean, we've heard that same argument towards the same people or anybody who's brought up that same argument. Uh, these findings, or what are now these findings, we've seen the same argument, and I think that's wrong because they may well be used as a weapon. The point is that we need to be better. I think people are looking for changes. He said they're looking for people to stop pointing fingers, stop looking for scapegoats, and be able to recognize this is everybody's problem. We need to bring everybody together and fix. And by the way, that includes the state. I guess I'd like to be clear before I went any further on that sentence, is I'd like to know what he thinks he means by what the problem is. And when he says scapegoats, I guess I'm trying to understand. And just in a democratic context, I'm not clear what that means. I mean, because it sounds like he's saying you shouldn't hold people democratically accountable. But maybe I'm wrong. I think that combined within 24 hours of us having a new superintendent is a powerful formula to actually fix the underlying problems he was instructed to say. I mean, he said. So, all right. Well, there's this one. We're going to pop right into the recording. Or we're going to pop right into the audit. It's later than you think. Hey, thanks for sticking with us. We will keep you informed. This is going to be exciting. I think it's well timed. It's going to be a lot of corporate education speak gobbledygook, but we're going to make it through it together.